Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your Tuesday, June 16th update for the second stimulus check. And I'll also be speaking briefly on the first stimulus check as well, because yes, unfortunately, there are still millions of people out there who haven't received their first stimulus payment, and you will definitely eventually get paid if you are eligible. But I'm going to hang in there with you guys until the very end and give you any updates I have along the way. So real quickly, I did want to start this video by listing a phone number in which you can speak to your U.S. Senate representative for your particular state. And I would encourage everyone to call this number. That number is 202-224-3121. And I will leave that number up on the screen here just for a second if you do want to call. And whenever you speak to your U.S. Senate representative for your state, let them know what's on your mind about these stimulus payments. If you want to see your senators get off their butts and get some more stimulus packages passed and more stimulus payments out there, let them know what's on your mind. Remember, us the citizens, we have the power here. We elected them into office, and we can certainly elect them out of office and elect some other people in there who are willing to do more things for us, the American people. So once again, I would definitely encourage everyone to call that number. So moving right along to the first stimulus payments. If you did not receive your first stimulus payment, remember you're definitely eligible as long as you earn less than $99,000 as a single filer or less than $198,000 as married, and as long as you weren't claimed as a dependent or have some type of past due child support that could potentially offset your stimulus payment, you're definitely eligible, and you can just continue checking the payment portal. The payment portal will eventually update. There are numerous people who are receiving payment dates of the 19th. If you're not receiving a payment date of the 19th, I would still encourage you to check your bank account. Even though the payment portal usually updates for most people, there are certain cases, even though it's rare, where the payment portal never updates for whatever reason, yet they still deposit your stimulus payment into your bank account. So either way, check your bank account on the 19th, see if there's anything there. But if it's not, do not get discouraged, do not give up. You will eventually receive your payment. Remember, they're sending these payments out every single week in batches and in waves, so they will eventually get to you. Okay, moving right along to the second stimulus payment. So we already know that the House of Representatives, with Nancy Pelosi as the House Speaker, they want $3 trillion in the next bill, and that was shown in the HEROES Act that they recently passed. Unfortunately, we pretty much knew that the HEROES Act was dead on arrival whenever it reached the Senate. Mitch McConnell was completely against it. He did not want to spend $3 trillion. And really, if he had it his way, I'm not sure if he would even want to pass additional stimulus. He's already seen that the unemployment is down, people are going back to work, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if McConnell really thinks that we need additional stimulus payments. However, in the end, whether he really wanted additional stimulus payments or not, he did agree to spend $1 trillion at most. Now, at $1 trillion, unfortunately, that doesn't really leave us with a lot of wiggle room as far as sending out additional stimulus payments go. So just to compare, the CARES Act, in which we all received $1,200 and $500 for dependents, that was $2.2 trillion. So if we were to only spend $1 trillion, which would be a little bit less than half of the CARES Act, then that would only leave us with maybe $600 in stimulus payments and maybe $300 for dependents. Now, thankfully, recently it's come out that Donald Trump is actually seeking around $2 trillion in stimulus payments. Now, with $2 trillion, we obviously have a lot more wiggle room. So with the CARES Act, like I said before, that's sang at a tune of $2.2 trillion. So here, if Trump wants $2 trillion, we're looking in much better shape for another $1,200 stimulus payment. Now, White House advisor Peter Navarro did say that the focus of the next stimulus bill could be on manufacturing jobs. He mentioned that the focus should be buy American, hire American, and make it in the USA. And rather than bringing manufacturing jobs back home from abroad back to the USA, which would supply more jobs to the American people, we've also seen other priorities which range from return to work bonuses and a payroll tax cut. Now, as you've probably already seen, the Senate already said they're not going to be doing anything as far as a second stimulus bill. They're not going to even get started on it until they get back from their 2-week recess, which begins around Independence Day. So it's going to be probably late July at earliest before they get anything passed, and then they go on another recess in early August. So if they're not able to get anything done on the next stimulus bill between late July and early August, then we might be looking until September before they're able to get anything passed. And quite frankly, I find this a little bit ridiculous. We already know that the House of Representatives wants $3 trillion. Mitch McConnell himself said he was willing to spend $1 trillion in the Senate. And then we have Donald Trump here in the middle saying $2 trillion. So you pretty much have to figure that the next stimulus bill is pretty much more or less guaranteed. Because we're having Nancy Pelosi, she says, okay, we'll spend $3 trillion. We have Mitch McConnell, he says, okay, $1 trillion. And then once again, we have Donald Trump at $2 trillion. So they're willing to spend trillions of dollars on the next stimulus bill. Why can't we just start rolling out checks to people now? Why can't we just create one bill for stimulus payments to the American people, take care of our American people first, because there's lots of people who are not going to be able to afford their rent this month. There's lots of people who are not going to be able to afford their electricity bill. There's lots of people who aren't going to be able to afford paying for their food this month. It's ridiculous. So why are we sitting around on our butts saying we're going to wait all the way until late July to even get started on a bill and then try to cram like all of our political agendas into one single bill when we clearly know that the people that actually voted us into office need the money? And we can get one stimulus bill passed right now where it's just exclusively money to the people, and then after that we can take some time off, we can go visit all of our vacation homes, and then we can go back to the negotiating table, and the Democrats and the Republicans, they can negotiate how much of the stimulus bill should go towards other things like infrastructure or student loan relief. But right now, I don't know why they can't just pass a stimulus bill specifically for stimulus payments to the American people. Once again, guys, call that number 202-224-3121. Leave multiple messages per day. You may think that it doesn't matter, but they will listen to those messages. And once again, we're the ones that vote these people into office, and we can certainly elect them out of office. Let your voice be heard. This is your chance to do it, so I would strongly encourage you to do that. Now, I just wanted to quickly touch base on how much these stimulus payments could possibly be. I know you probably heard some different figures thrown around. I'm sure you've heard of $1,200, which would be the same as the first stimulus payment in the CARES Act. And then I'm sure you've also heard of $2,000. And there have also been some rumors of $2,000, which would be great. Now, for this bill, considering we're just looking at probably $2 trillion, my guess is this is probably going to be closer to the $1,200 mark, just because the CARES Act was $2.2 trillion. And if this one comes in at $2 trillion, then I would think at most, with all the other fluff that will most likely be in the bill, added in addition to the stimulus payments, it should probably at most be $1,200. And unfortunately, we may end up seeing the same rules for dependents, where dependents would not be eligible for stimulus payments. Now, in the HEROES Act, they made it so where dependents would also receive $1,200 as well. But if we're only looking at $2 trillion as opposed to $3 trillion, I'm not sure if we would have enough wiggle room in there to pay off dependents as well. I'm really hoping that we do, just because I think people who are adults who are claimed as dependents, or college students who are claimed as dependents, should also receive payouts, even if it's only the $500 versus the $1,200. I think they are definitely deserving, because it's kind of unfair that people who are dependents under the age of 17 are receiving an additional $500 underneath the CARES Act, but then we have adult dependents who really need the $500 to $1,200 much more than teenagers would, and they're not receiving anything at all. So that's really, quite frankly, just unfair. So with that said, if this next stimulus bill does come in at $2 trillion, my guess is probably going to be $1,200. It's possible it could be $2,000, but if they are going to pay each American $2,000 rather than just $1,200 as in the CARES Act, they are going to have to allocate a much higher percentage of the funds to stimulus payments versus everything else that's in the bill. Okay, so now at this point in time, I just wanted to talk about the latest virus situation. And you've probably already seen on the news that there has been a spike in cases in, I believe, around 21 states. And it really doesn't come at much of a surprise. The government is loosening restrictions. We're seeing a lot more people at restaurants. I believe people can be at least 75% capacity in restaurants. Even bars are opening. We're seeing theme parks opening up. I'm pretty sure Disney is going to be opening up next month perhaps, even though there's a lot of restrictions and having to wear a mask and things like that. But I can't imagine who would want to go to a theme park when it's 90 degrees out with 100-degree humidity and be wearing a mask. I would personally be sweating too much and be way too uncomfortable to put up with that. But other than that, it is good to see that the economy is opening up. But of course, the bad side of that is that we're of course seeing more and more cases because people are now coming out of their homes. So yeah, we're interacting, and it really shouldn't come at much of a surprise that the cases are increasing. Now, unfortunately, with the cases increasing, you might be thinking to yourself like, uh-oh, are we going to go back into lockdown again? What's going to happen? Well, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin actually came out and said, we can't shut down the economy again. I think we've learned that if you shut down the economy, you're going to create more damage. And then he goes on to say, And not just economic damage, but there are other areas, and we've talked about this. Medical problems and everything else that get put on hold, he added. I think it was very prudent what the president did, but I think we've learned a lot. So clearly, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, if he were to have it his way, even if there was a massive spike in cases, he would clearly be against another complete shutdown. Okay, so now at this point in time, I'm just going to answer a couple of the comments and questions that I received in my last video. So the first comment that I'm going to answer today is from Carrie. Carrie says, "Hi Josh. I accidentally used the non-filer tool and I'm on SSI and have a Direct Express card. Will I be able to get the first stimulus check? Please help." All right, Carrie, thank you so much for that comment. And yes, even though you used the non-filers tool, even though you weren't supposed to, that could potentially slow down your stimulus payment. It wouldn't speed up your stimulus payment, but it shouldn't prevent you from receiving your stimulus payment. So you should definitely receive one. Just continue checking the payment portal and you will eventually receive a date. The second and last comment that I'm going to answer in today's video, just because we're running out of time and I don't want to go on too long in this video, is from Mike. Mike says, "I tried the Get My Payment link and it still says payment status not available. I also filled out the non-filing form and I've been receiving SSI since January. I'm giving up on the Get My Payment portal because I'm tired of being frustrated. I've been waiting for my stimulus check since mid-April and still no payment. The IRS are a bunch of liars. They say that June 17th is another payment day. They lied about all the other dates. I will not believe them until I see it. I hate liars." And I can definitely understand your frustration there, Mike. You've been waiting for several months now and you still haven't received your stimulus payment. And there's millions of people who haven't received their stimulus payment. It's ridiculous. I mean, the IRS has one job, and that's to send out millions of stimulus payments. And even though that may not be easy, I think with all the power that they have, they should have had everyone's stimulus payment in their bank account or in the mail by now. So it's ridiculous. They hold these high standards for us to pay our taxes on April 15th every single year. And if we don't pay our taxes by April 15th every year, what happens? Guess what? We get hit with fees, we get hit with penalties. So I'm not sure why the IRS doesn't hold themselves to the same standard. It's ridiculous. I can understand your frustration. Unfortunately, all I can say, the best advice I can give you here, Mike, is just to continue checking the payment portal. There'll be more and more payments going out every single week. So even if you don't get paid this week, it's possible you'll get paid next week. I've seen every single week people in my comment section saying, "I still haven't gotten paid, I still haven't gotten paid." And I know it's frustrating. I know it's easy to get fed up. And I've seen many of those people finally get paid, and I know it's a relief for them to finally get paid. Just hang in there. And even if you do get paid next week, it would still be way too long, but at least in the end you do get paid, and then hopefully we'll see another stimulus payment shortly after that, which should help you out some as well. All right, so on that note, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you would like to see more videos like it, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like this video. It helps promote this and push this out to other people. Also, if you have any social networks like Twitter or Facebook and you wouldn't mind sharing it on your social network to try to help some more people as well, I would greatly appreciate that. And until next time, I'll see you guys and I hope you have a great day today.